Right guys, this is a long play review for Solar Coaster on the AMSTRAD CPC, released by Optyx Software in 1986. Now this is a real obscure game and quite possibly a little hidden gem on the Amstrad. I first came across this a few weeks ago when someone requested it on an AM stream, my weekly AMSTRAD CPC live stream every Friday 9 PM, cheap plug. And well, I really enjoyed it, and I swore I'd come back and do a little long play of this. So here we are. No loading screens, sadly. And then we're just straight into the title screen, which actually looks rather nice. And nicely presented. So this is kind of a mishmash of various early 80s coin-op space shooters like Galaxian, Gorf, Mooncrester, Phoenix, and the classic Space Invaders. So it's one of those games. And we're just going to go through maybe about 3 waves. And here we are on the first wave and the first screen. And there's usually either 4 or 5 screens per wave. On the first wave there's only 4 screens. And we get different types of enemies and attack patterns. Now, as you can see, you can move your ship up and down in the screen with a bit of a thrust. I guess that's kind of inspired by Galaxian, where you could move up and down the screen in that. And also where you have aliens that break off from the pack and dive bomb you. This screen is obviously inspired by Phoenix. I think it's like the final screen in Phoenix. Although it's very slightly different, but pretty much the same thing. Actually, it's one of the easier screens because you can just wipe out all these alien bird creatures pretty quickly just by spamming them on the left of the screen there. But it's just got a time moving in and out there from the salvo from the alien inside the space egg. Let's call it the space egg. And it's going to score 1 direct hit on its middle body part there. Going through the barrier there, which we're slowly chewing away at. There we go. And that's the first wave done. So, that's quite good fun. I love the presentation of this. And all the sound effects. We get an additional screen of enemies on the next wave. And then this wave basically repeats from now on out. So we'll do this wave and maybe have a look at the next wave, and that I will call it there for a long play, because, well, it doesn't seem to get any harder and nothing different happens. But still, this is really good fun for a quick blast. It controls well. I like the graphics and presentation. I love the sound effects, and it does what it sets out to do really rather well, and better than a lot of the clones of sort of space shoot 'em ups from the early arcades. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. So this was produced and released by a company called Optyx Software, and it's very hard to find much about them. They had one other game on the Amstrad called Python Pete, which is basically a snake clone. They also released games on other systems like Death River for the Commodore 16 and Plus4, and Bomber Baron for the BBC Micro back as early as 1983. But I can't find any other games they released though. And sadly, I have no idea who the coder was of Solar Coaster. I've had a look, can't find a sausage. The Optyx Software are barely listed anywhere on the internet, but there you go. So 4 games in total I've managed to find about Optyx Software. And yes, Solar Coaster wasn't released on any other computer, so this is an Amstrad exclusive here. Let's have a look at. I did find a review for this in Amstrad Action magazine. So yes, Solar Coaster was surprisingly reviewed in Amstrad Action issue 21 in June of 1987. And the first thing that is revealed to me is that this was a budget game, priced at $1.99, which makes it even better in my book. That's a cracking budget bargain, I reckon. But Amstrad Action didn't really like the game. Most of the criticisms are entirely fair and correct though. I think there is some iffy collision detection at times, it does get repetitive very quickly. It's unoriginal, especially by 1987 standards, and ship movement is too sluggish. But I do disagree with them not liking the sound effects here. I think the sound effects are pretty decent. So anyway, they scored graphics at 55%, sonics at 37%, grab factor 56%, staying power 42%, with an overall AA rating of 48%. And I think that's harsh. But as I said, this is mid-1987, and in the same issue they're reviewing games like Prohibition, Ranarama, Asphalt, with adverts for Barbarian and Head Over Heels in there, and also Renegade was around the corner. It does all make this look rather naff. However though, if this was an AmSoft release, for example, amongst all the other space shooters like Space Hawks, Galactic Plague, etc., this would have stood out like a shining star. But that was 1984, and this is 1987, and a lot has happened and progressed since the AmSoft days. So I kind of see AA's point of view there. And yeah, I think we're on the 4th wave now. So as you can see, guys, nothing really has changed. Died a couple of times there already. Get your lives to the top corner there, represented by flags. Score on the top left. And you can just get unlucky sometimes. There's not much you can do and you lose a life. So we have to mark that down a little bit for that as well. Sometimes there are situations you can't really do much about. But anyway, on saying all that previously about AA and all that, this is really good fun for a quick blast. And one of the better clones of an early 80s coin-op space shooter. Okay. It always makes me laugh, actually. Ronnie Rombox in the high score table there. Anyway, I really enjoy playing this and making this long play. Sometimes you just want a game to pick up and play quick and not think too hard. And honestly, I'm drawn back to this one to have another blast. Not everyone will agree though, so on balance, I'm going to give this a score of 7 out of 10. Especially considering this was still a cheap $1.99 budget release. And as a kid, I would have enjoyed it too. So there you go, guys. Solar Coaster, well worth a quick go, and I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all again very soon. Goodbye.
So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please click a like below, leave a comment, and also subscribe if you haven't already. And over that way, there's another video for you to check out. Zypho, out.